Western civilization is moving closer to a point of irreconcilable, unstable equilibrium, as frighteningly increasing numbers of people trust nothing. Media, academia, and especially the governments are no longer held in high esteem. Regaining trust is often impossible after betrayal. However, transparency is essential to any healing process, and that is the essence of the Don Sullivan Show. Please listen to the team explore, probe, and debate cutting-edge science, technology, and computing. Play ball!
Welcome to a very special episode of the Don Sullivan Show. As you can hear, Don is currently on the road, and you're going to learn more about that very shortly. I'm your co-host, Jersey Steve. First, we want to thank our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by License Fortress, the industry's first and only software asset management firm to offer both a financial and legal guarantee at its highest level of service. Whether it's Oracle, Microsoft, or VMware, License Fortress helps organizations stay compliant, avoid audits, and save money. You can learn more at licensefortress.com. And please support our producer, our wonderful producer, Bill Axt, by visiting axtinc.com. That is AXTINK.com. You can subscribe to his YouTube channel and help support his efforts to create humorous animation, as well as run our website, all while researching a cure for baldness.
Hello, folks, and welcome again to the Don Sullivan Show, a show where we talk about all things science, technology, and computing. And I'll tell you, in recent weeks and months, we have expanded the notion, the definition, the very way we think about science, technology, and computing, so that we've included subjects like, education as a subject. It's not just education of science, technology, and computing, but education itself as a science, and finance as a science. I mean, finance is built on mathematics, was to a certain extent the reason why Western civilization, free enterprise, was created by the Medicis after the Black Plague in the middle 1300s. So we're expanding the notion of science, technology, and computing. But today, we're going to expand it to more of the various different travels of the various different hosts and partners and guests on Don Sullivan Show. So today it's just going to be me for a while until Steve comes in and makes all kinds of sarcastic and funny comments, as Jersey Steve is prone to do. But I am going to be in the deserts of the Southwest again, once again hiking, and specifically in the southwest of Arizona. Today, we are going to learn about the iconic cactus of the Southwest, the saguaro cactus, as we talk about the amazing, majestic saguaros, which there are millions of, tens of millions in the desert Southwest between north of Phoenix and south of Tucson, along the Route 10 corridor. They are utterly beautiful. They are majestic and old. They can be. They are dwindling in number, but not as much as we certainly thought 50 years ago. And there is a national park that has been set aside to protect the greatest concentrations, that is west and east of Tucson, Arizona. And that park is named Saguaro National Park. Surprise, surprise. And there is about 200 miles of hiking trails, which I'm going to talk about because I've been on a lot of them. I'm going to go through a narrative of the various different hiking trails and talk about some of them. We'll talk while I'm on a hike. We'll talk while I'm walking past the saguaros. We'll talk about all the other foliage, or not all of it because there's way too much, in the semi-arid desert of the southwest or south central west of the beautiful Sonora Desert in Arizona. The prickly pears and the yucca and the barrel cactus and all of the flowering is happening right now in the spring here in 2026. So I don't need to read out our legal disclaimer because it's going to just be me and Steve who are commenting as we embark on this episode of the iconic cactus, the saguaro, as we walk through and talk about the saguaro cactus and specifically Saguaro National Park. So I'm almost there. I'm driving and I'm parking near the visitor center, and we'll talk about the saguaro quite a bit, and then we will do some hiking in various areas within the western side of the or the western part, I should say, of Saguaro National Park. So again, welcome everybody, and let's have some fun. So see you in a few minutes. Hello everyone, I'm back on the trails, short trails near the visitor center, looking up at the majestic telephone pole size, 75 feet high, probably 250-year-old saguaro cactus that I'm walking past right now. It's got 7 arms on it. Saguaro cactus don't start growing arms until they're about 75 years old. They are specifically biologically designed for this type of climate. It is about 1,200 feet in the Phoenix area till about 3,000 feet north of Tucson, and then a little bit south of Tucson at the most, and then 50 miles maybe on both sides. It's really quite interesting. You go drive north on State Route 17 up to Flagstaff from Phoenix, and you cross over a little ledge about a third of the way up, about 50 miles north of the football stadium, the Cardinals football stadium. The name is eluding me at the moment, but you drive about 50 miles north of it, right past a little town with, I don't even know if there's anybody who lives in it, named Bumblebee. And when you get over that little ridge and you get onto the plain, the cactus are gone. You're coming the other way, you go over the ridge coming down from Flagstaff, and there are cactus, or the saguaro cactus, as far as you can see. But they are extremely sensitive towards exactly where their environments start. The overall temperature, humidity, the amount of rain. The monsoons come from July all through September, sometimes every day in the Arizona Southwest from Phoenix down to Tucson, and they will absorb enormous amounts of water. And from that water, they will grow themselves. They will grow in incredible flowers, just like the prickly pear and the barrel cactus and the yucca and so on. But they'll grow even more. But then sometimes dozens of birds are able to slip within the thorns, which can grow up to 2 inches long and be the size and the strength of a sewing needle at times. And of course, they're covered by tens of thousands, each one of them. But the cactus that I just passed, as I mentioned, about 75 foot tall, probably about 225 years old, they do eventually just fall over. They don't grow about more than 250 years old, but it's still quite a ways. It's not hot out here yet. It's only in the low 80s, and the trails are very easy. You've got to be careful walking along these trails because there are lots of nasty bugs, scorpions and diamondback. That's why the baseball team is named the Diamondbacks up in Phoenix. Diamondback rattlesnakes, which are one of the more deadly rattlesnake species. Up in Colorado where I live, we have thousands of the prairie rattlesnakes, and yes, people die getting bit by them. Some poor lady just died having been bitten by some species of rattlesnake in California a couple of weeks ago. It didn't used to happen very much, but in the last 10 years, we've had in this decade, we've had 2 people die in the Colorado or the Denver metro area of rattlesnake bites. So even the less potent prairie rattlesnakes are still pretty potent. The diamondbacks are much more aggressive. So are the prairie rattlesnakes that you find up in South Dakota, which about 20 years ago I came very, very close to stepping on one of them. I was very foolishly listening to a baseball game. Mariano Rivera was finishing a game. I should have had more faith and just paid attention to where I was stepping on the trail, and almost stepped on a prairie rattlesnake, which would have been very ugly for both of us, I imagine. But I digress, as I so often am wont to do, as we are just walking along here in this really only about 3.5 mile hike. There are many of them, smaller hikes off the road on the winding trails of Saguaro National Park, the western side of it. And the eastern side is smaller. That's east of I-15, not I-15, I-10, east of I-10. And I'm in the western side right now, and it's pretty amazing because and especially when you get sunrise and sunset, the way the light flickers through each one of these different cacti species, and specifically the saguaros, it's absolutely incredible. What I think is most special about the saguaros is, as compared to, say, a beautiful pine forest or of Great Mountain, Colorado, or other places, or the oak trees that have such tremendous consistency within the variety of the colors of the leaves that come in the fall. As beautiful as they all are, particularly the pine trees and the aspen trees in Colorado in the fall, and then all of the colors back from New Jersey on up through Canada. There is a consistency to it. There is no consistency to the saguaros. Every one of them will be completely different. The forces that actually compel the various different arms to grow in the various different directions are really not very well known. They almost behave like branches of trees in that way, but the arms are the most obvious and pronounced feature of the saguaros, and there is so little around them of that size. They all stand out as these sentinels of the west, of the desert, and you can see so many other creatures beneath them, whether they're animals or plants. As you look out onto the horizon as I am now, of the various different areas of the desert in and outside of this national park. And as I mentioned before, the light flickers through them at both dawn and dusk in a manner that is, I guess, similar optically to what happens with light going through ice after a storm. But obviously that's all those two different physical phenomena have in common whatsoever. It's utterly incredible. So the area that I'm in right now is generally referred to as the Tucson Mountains. The Rincon Mountains are the eastern section of Saguaro National Park, which when I was a child, when I first came here in 1971, it was Saguaro National Monument. And about 15 years ago, well, 20 so years ago, I think now, I'm getting old, It was upgraded to become Saguaro National Park. So you have the Rincon Mountains in the east part of the park, and the Tucson Mountains of Tucson in the western part of the park. Again, these saguaros go all the way up about 50 miles north of Phoenix. So there's it could be as many as 100 million of them if you count the small ones. It was the case that in the 70s there was a real fear that, for various different reasons having to do with pollution, that they were dying. And of course, in the areas, particularly around Phoenix, which are developed, Mesa and then Glendale and out towards northern Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, and up into Cave Creek and so on, Fountain. A lot of saguaros were taken down as private property was utilized to develop various different housing developments and so on. But the biggest problem was the pollution, and I again digress a little bit, but Phoenix is a valley, just like Denver. Coronado actually referred to when we came up this area. The dust that settled, just again, very similar to Denver, the dust that settled over the Valley of the Sun. So obviously the natural foliage of all kinds, including the saguaro, could handle the natural dust that stayed in the temperature inversions especially, but all the time in Phoenix, and again the same thing is true with Denver. So, but it was the pollution of the encroachment of people and the vehicles that started killing them quite a bit, and as the pollutants that came from cars was reduced over the last 50 years significantly, and overall pollutants were diminished significantly between Phoenix and Tucson areas, almost down to Sierra Vista and Fort Huachuca. Of course, that's true all around the country, particularly Los Angeles when you go there. The saguaro have done much, much better in terms of numbers and in terms of individual health. They are still not what I would say endangered, but they are still less in number than they would have been hundreds of years ago. Certainly not on the level of slaughter of the bison, but they are less in number, but that doesn't mean they are not unbelievably prolific. And then they, as I said already a couple times on this particular episode, that they dominate the views in every possible direction in all of all of the areas. Anywhere you can go. I'm on this little hike right now, and you can't go, more than about 100 steps before you run into another one that's again completely different than the one before. And if I wanted to count, just as I'm looking straight ahead right now, I'm sure there's a little hill above me to the right, and I'm sure if I wanted to, I could count 200 or 300 of them. It is a site that I think everybody in the world, if not at least America, you always hear me discuss how much I think it would do so much good for the young people of America who are being educated to see all the sights of America, particularly those of less affluent backgrounds. We're actually going to have a Don Sullivan show specifically on that subject here in a few weeks. I hope you'll tune into that as well. But this changes your life, seeing these types of scenes, whether it's the depths of the Grand Canyon or the heights of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, or any of the sites that we have talked about. I just came back from Kilimanjaro in Africa, and we spent a lot of time in Alaska last year. We're going to go back to Alaska this year as well, and all of these sites are sites that change your soul. They change your being. They change your way of thinking about reality and about life. And they just simply, I think, make you a better person, not just a more educated person, but a better person as you come to appreciate the beauty in the real diversity of nature, that diversity that nature has created. They're all saguaros, and they're all different. They're all as different as snowflakes are different. And that is utterly amazing. The technical name of a saguaro cactus is Carnegie giganta. And again, they live up to about 200 years old. Arms starting around 75 years. And as I mentioned, every single one is completely unique. They start to flower around 35 years old as they absorb all of the monsoon rainfall through their entire life. Again, I find it utterly amazing how the birds, all different types of birds, big and small, roadrunners to blackbirds that aren't as big as ravens would be too big, can nestle and build nests right on top of or between these really massive thorns, which are like sewing needles. It's pretty incredible overall. Give you a little bit of a history as well. The early desert dwellers, that is before the Anasazi, probably up to 2,000 years ago, used what is in reality wood from an expired saguaro. So it's people in the Tucson and Phoenix areas who want to make decorations can out of dead saguaros. Can't harvest within the national parks, but you can, I believe, in BLM land. I'm not really the Bureau of Land Management land, although I'm not sure about that. You certainly can on your own private property. There's every other person in the Tucson mountain area, not in the city of Tucson, but in the outskirts, the suburbs of Tucson, up to Oro Valley and some other places in the north of Tucson or in the southwest of Tucson. Everyone has multiple saguaros in their yards or around their houses, and you can get the wood from them and make them into tremendous decorations. So it's not wood as strong as oak or maple that you would build a house out of or a boat out of. They should actually do a full show on USS Constitution, how it was made out of wood and how British cannonballs bounced off it to the point where they refer to it as Old Ironsides, because the British sailors were in disbelief as to how their cannonballs were bouncing off of it, so they asked if it was actually made out of iron, but no, it wasn't. So we'll do a whole show on that. That's certainly a good subject, but the saguaro wood is not nearly as strong as that. It wasn't meant to be. Nature doesn't need it to be. It can be used for all kinds of different things, and the desert dwellers before the Anasazi, as I was getting to, certainly used that saguaro wood for all manner of building dwellings and building various different containers to hold food, weapons to actually hunt. Some of the various different huntable and harvestable animals that are out here are a javelina, a form of a boar. Very aggressive and fast creatures. They run around everywhere. They have a black tone to them. They have long, nasty teeth. They could take down a black bear because they're so fast and they're so nasty. They, for the most part, leave you alone. If you leave them alone, they'll show up on the golf courses around here in packs of 10 to 20. And you just want to, they don't stay in the same place very long, and you want to just let them go. But for a long time, not so much now, but the Anasazi and those who lived in these areas before the Anasazi hunted the javelina or the desert boars, and lots of other animals as well. There are cougars and bobcats and birds of all different kinds, coyotes obviously, all over. snakes and really nasty critters. Coral snakes, rattlesnakes. Coral snakes are extremely deadly. Although they're few and far between. Rattlesnakes, diamondbacks, as I mentioned earlier in this episode, are pretty prolific. Scorpions, you can see scorpions at night. That's always kind of interesting to do, but you have to be pretty careful because that's a nasty bite again. Tarantulas as well. But if you want to see the scorpions at night, you can go out with a glow light and flash it around, and the scorpions themselves will glow. They're not very aggressive, and they're not very fast, but you got to be really careful and do not leave your shoes outside of a tent. Do not stick your feet inside of a sleeping bag that might have had an open space in the tent when you went out to hike like I am doing right now, because the scorpions slip their way in, and you do not want to get woken up in the middle of the night by one of them biting you. You can get infected and get very badly hurt by it, but you're not going to get killed. Black widow spiders as well, lots of different spiders. The tarantulas generally leave you alone. They are scary. They're much bigger. Black widow and wolf spiders. I have been bitten by a wolf spider in Colorado. It can be very it can hurt you and cause rashes that can last for a long time. I had an entire summer where I had a rash on my abdomen. So I'm going to pause here for a little bit and finish up this hike, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the various different trails that we are going to take. This is a short 3-mile hike, and I've just been commenting as we've gone through this loop near the visitor center. We're going to drive along the national park roads, and I'll tell you, and I'm not going to narrate while I'm driving, so I'll tell you before we start the drive that there is a twist and turn every 50 to 100 yards for 25 miles, and everything is so beautiful and it's so interesting to look at, all of the cactus and so on. You can easily run into a car that's coming in your other direction, or you can get yourself you can wind up slipping off the road if you're not paying attention. So I am not going to comment while I'm driving, but I will comment when we get to the next trailhead. So for the moment, we'll see you. Well, hi there again, folks. So I've left the Red Hills Visitor Center, and we were just talking about the various different trails that are all over Saguaro National Park. As I said, probably about 200 total trails from both the west and the east sections, the Tucson and the Rincon Mountain side. It's basically just you can walk all around the area of the Red Hills Visitor Center, and then there's a little Desert Discovery Nature Trail slightly off the road as well. But the scenic road, Hohokam Road, is the road that's most interesting, I think. As I was mentioning before, I wasn't going to. I was going to be very, very careful of commenting while we were driving along those roads. But there are many of them. The Baja Loop Drive is another one that is really interesting to drive along. But again, pay attention as you're driving through the park itself. So some of my the hikes over the years that I've found interesting are walking through Cactus Canyon, Coyote Pass, Mule Deer Hike, the Baja Wash area, Wild Dog Trail, the Hohokam Road. Along the Hohokam Road there's a trail. A lot of them are named for washes, but every one of them has an absolute plethora of not just soar, although again they stand out more than anything else. But there are many of the types of foliage: the prickly pear and the barrel cactus and the yucca and the ocotillo. It's absolutely, utterly amazing. If you go a little bit further down the Golden Gate Trail, you're going to find trails named Cactus, Wren, and Enkinus. I've never been able to pronounce that one. There's trails that go 3-4 miles that are not terribly challenging in terms of people who are used to climbing mountains in Colorado, for example, but they're quite beautiful. And in the summer, you've got to be quite careful, and you need to be very well hydrated because you can get lost out here, and people do get themselves in trouble. And it does get to 110 degrees in the Tucson area, much hotter if you go north to the Phoenix area. But in Saguaro National Park, even though for the most part it's at about 22 to 25, maybe up to 2,800 feet in the low-lying areas without walking up into the mountains, it can get to 110 degrees. So you have to be quite careful. You have to be very well hydrated, and you do have to know what you're doing. You should have some kind of map with you, and of course, always the 10 essentials. In particular, because there are so many twists and turns around these trails, it's a good idea to have a compass as well, especially if you're out there in midday and the sun is above you and you have trouble determining direction when the sun is above you. So I'm going to finish with this segment now. I'm going to stop the car. I've already stopped the car, and we're going to go on another short little hike, just about a half-mile little nature trail. And there's lots of them around here, just to see what's out there, and if there's anything terribly interesting, I will get back on and comment on it. And if not, I'm going to, again, take a break and drive over to the east side of Saguaro National Park and tell you about some of the trails over there, a little bit higher over there in terms of altitude, because you're starting to go up into the mountains, the Rincon Mountains, that is. You've got to get across the highway and so on. So I will see you for the moment, and I'll be back when either something compelling happened or we get over to the east side. So folks, I'm back at the Tanca Verde Ridge in the east side of the wonderful Saguaro National Park. The scenic drive in this area is called Cactus Forest Drive, and there's a Rincon Mountain Visitor Center. The trails are longer over here. They're less numerous, and again, you can walk up into the Rincon Mountains themselves. But the Tanque Ridge or Tanque Verde Ridge trail goes through what's called Box Canyon, and you can go all the way up to Tanque Verde Peak at 7,000 feet. Not a lot by Colorado standards, but realize we're starting down here at Rincon Mountain Visitor Center, which is somewhere around 2,800 feet, I think. So I'm not doing that today. I have been up these trails at other times. There are certain areas that are dangerous, easy to slip off, some exposure, and not a lot of people go up on a daily basis past about the 3-mile point here. But it is certainly doable, and there are trails that go way beyond that, go through the mountains, and I'm not even sure where they go. Saguaro National Park itself goes about 25 miles to the east, bordered on the south by Coronado National Forest, bordered on the south, bordered on the east, and bordered on the north by Coronado National Forest, and also the Rincon Valley on the south side. So, again, another wonderful area that I wanted to share with the vast audience of the Don Sullivan Show. I'm sure Steve will have lots to add into the show as we move along. You don't have to be concerned about me not making it up to the top of a peak or back up from the bottom of a canyon. I suppose I should be concerned and make sure I'm continuously looking down to what I'm stepping on, what I could step on when I'm on these trails. But I just wanted to include Saguaro National Park and the southwest of Arizona, again between Phoenix and Tucson, within this national park series. In the show notes, there will be some pictures as well as, there will be my heartfelt suggestion and encouragement to, on your bucket lists or on just your casual travel lists, to plan on coming to Phoenix and driving down to Tucson and driving through Saguaro National Park and some of the other national parks in the southern part of Arizona. Arizona Highways magazine for, I guess 75 years has been very prolific and widely distributed throughout the United States. It's not a type of magazine that is really suited to transition to an online type of publication. It's something that has dozens of wonderful pictures in it every time that you receive a new episode. And for most of my formative youth, my parents would take us from New Jersey out to Arizona. My father was in the Army in Fort Huachuca in Sierra Vista, about 100 miles south of here, in the 50s. And so as he was teaching school, he would put us in a station wagon, initially in the early 70s without air conditioning, and drive us to the desert southwest at 100 plus degrees when we were kids. And again, I grew to love this area of the country. I may even move here at some point as I grow older. But for now, that's enough. And again, I encourage you all to do some research and add Saguaro National Park and the Tucson area. We didn't even talk about the Desert Museum north of Tucson, another wonderful place to go, or the Biosphere Experiment that has a entire enclosed ecosystem in which they're experimenting for 100 years of it running on its own. All these things, well, Kitt Peak as well, which is part of the University of Arizona, are all in the Tucson Mountain and Rincon Mountains area. So one of my favorite places in the United States to go. And I wanted to include that in the discussion of the periphery of Saguaro National Park as part of our National Park series. So with that, I think we'll end this episode. And I will remind you that no matter where we are, no matter where I am, no matter where you are, whether you're at a baseball game, whether or not you're looking at wonderful saguaro cactuses, which all look different, whether or not you're in a snowstorm and looking at snowflakes, whether or not you're climbing to the top of a mountain or the bottom of a canyon, remember, folks, that all at-bats are situational.